May 9, 1944. 16:22 hours. Major Ernst Volker feels the rudder pedals lock beneath his boots. No resistance, no feedback, just dead metal. His Messerschmitt Bf-109, sleek predator of European skies, becomes a gliding coffin at 4,000 meters above enemy territory. Hydraulic fluid pressure, 0. Fuel remaining, 23 minutes. Below, through breaks in cloud cover, English countryside spreads like a patchwork quilt stitched with hedgerows. One flat stretch of green catches his eye. Elongated field, low buildings clustered at eastern edge, no visible activity. Not on his maps. Not marked as active. His only option. Volker angles the nose down, feeling the airframe shudder as speed builds without engine power to smooth the descent. Wind screams past the canopy. Altimeter unwinding. 3,000 meters. 2,500. 2,000. He lines up the approach with geometric precision drilled through 87 combat missions. Flaps manually cranked. Gear deployed by gravity alone. The Messerschmitt kisses grass at 160 kilometers per hour, bounces once, settles, rolls 312 meters before stopping. Engine coughs twice and dies. Silence. Absolute silence broken only by cooling metal ticking and wind whistling through bullet holes in the tail section he hadn't noticed before. Volker sits motionless, hand still gripping the control stick, breathing hard. Then he raises his head and looks through the scratched canopy and freezes. His mind refuses to process what his eyes report. The horizon should not be metallic. The horizon should not have 4 engines per unit. The horizon should not extend in neat rows to the vanishing point. Boeing, B-17, flying fortresses. Dozens. No. Scores. No. More. Silver fuselages gleaming in late afternoon sun. Wings overlapping wings. Tail assemblies creating a forest of vertical stabilizers. Volker's breath catches. He begins counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. First row complete. 8, 9, 10, 11. Second row. 12, 13, 14. He loses count. Starts again. 21, 22, 23. Realizes there are rows behind rows. Layers. Depth. Stops counting at 41 when comprehension strikes like a physical blow. This continues beyond his field of vision. His hands begin trembling. This is not a combat airfield. No bomb craters, no revetments, no defensive positions. This is storage, rotation, casual parking of strategic bombers as if they were bicycles outside a shop. He pops the canopy. Cold English air floods the cockpit, carrying the smell of aviation grease, rubber, and freshly cut grass. His flight suit is soaked with sweat despite the chill. Volker unbuckles harness with fingers that feel disconnected from his brain. He reaches for his navigation notepad. Small, leather-bound book clipped to his thigh-board. Opens it. Stares at blank page. His hand, the same hand that has written after-action reports for 87 missions, that has signed off on kill confirmations for 19 enemy aircraft, begins writing numbers, compulsively, obsessively. 41 visible in immediate view. Estimate 6 rows deep. 41 times 6 equals 246. But there is curvature to the field. More beyond. Add 30%. 319. His hand writes 319. Underlines it. Twice. Then calculations. Fortress production time. Estimated 8 weeks per unit at maximum efficiency. Multiply 319 by 8 weeks. Result, 2,552 weeks. Divide by 52 weeks per year. 49 years of production at maximum efficiency. The number stares back at him. Impossible. His training, his indoctrination, every briefing he has attended for 4 years insists this is impossible. The Americans cannot build complex 4-engine bombers at such scale. Too intricate, too resource-intensive, too... He stops writing, looks up again. The bombers have not disappeared, have not revealed themselves as hallucination or mirage. They sit there, real, tangible, countable. Volker's hand moves to his Luger P-08 pistol holstered at his right hip. Standard operating procedure: destroy instruments, deny enemy technical intelligence, prevent aircraft recovery. He should place incendiary charge in cockpit. Watch his beautiful Messerschmitt burn. Then attempt escape and evasion. His instructor's voice echoes across years. You are German pilot. You do not surrender. You do not yield. You fight or you die. Volker's hand rests on pistol grip. He looks at his aircraft. perfectly functional except for hydraulic failure. Cannon loaded, ammunition remaining. In other circumstances, valuable prize for enemy intelligence. He should destroy it. His hand does not move. He looks again at the metallic horizon. Counts again. Differently this time. Estimates bomber spacing. Roughly 30 meters between aircraft. Field width. Approximately 800 meters. Length. Perhaps 1,200 meters. Grid calculation. 26 aircraft widthwise. 40 lengthwise. 26 times 40 equals 1,040. He writes 1040. Crosses it out. Too high. Adjust for taxiways. Ground equipment. Clear zones. 70% of theoretical maximum. 728 bombers. His hand writes 728. Stares at it. Recalculates. Every major city in Germany. Every industrial center. Every marshalling yard. If 728 bombers attack simultaneously, carrying, he calculates bomb load, roughly 2,700 kilograms each, total payload approaches 2 million kilograms. 2 million kilograms of high explosive delivered in single raid from single secondary airfield. Secondary. His notepad page fills with numbers. Calculations branch and multiply. He estimates German fighter production, perhaps 400 Bf-109s monthly across all factories. American bomber production required to maintain 728 aircraft at single auxiliary field, accounting for combat losses, mechanical failures, rotation schedules. His pencil moves faster. Monthly production requirement, at least 600 bombers. He writes, 600 per month. Germany total fighter production, 400 per month. Ratio, 3 bombers produced for every 2 German fighters. Except fighters must combat bombers, escort aircraft, ground attack aircraft, and maintain homeland defense. His hand stops writing. The page is covered with numbers, equations, ratios, conclusions that his training insists cannot be true. Volker closes the notepad, climbs out of cockpit. His boots touch English grass. Strange feeling. Enemy soil. He should feel vulnerable, exposed. Instead, he feels numb, detached. He stands beside his aircraft, hand still on canopy rail, and conducts systematic visual count. Left to right, front to back. Uses surveyor technique learned in Luftwaffe reconnaissance training. Divides field into quadrants, counts each quadrant. Upper left, 73 bombers. Upper right, 68 bombers. Lower left, 81 bombers. Lower right, 75 bombers. Total, 297. He opens notepad, writes, 297. Confirmed. Visual count. Not estimate. Actual aircraft physically present on this secondary field in southeast England on May 9, 1944, at approximately 1640 hours. 297 operational 4-engine strategic bombers. Volker was taught that American industrial capacity was propaganda. Exaggeration designed to demoralize. His instructors showed photographs of B-17 production lines, dismissed them as staged. Same aircraft photographed multiple times. Quality defeats quantity, they said. German engineering defeats American mass production. He looks at his Messerschmitt. Beautiful aircraft, sleek lines. Powerful Daimler-Benz DB605 engine, 30mm cannon. Maximum speed 650 kilometers per hour. Climb rate 20 meters per second. Superior to any Allied fighter in dogfight. 87 missions. 19 kills. Never shot down, only mechanical failures. Peak of German engineering achievement. 1 aircraft. He looks at the bombers. 297. At this field. Secondary field. The mathematics becomes unavoidable. If secondary field holds 297 bombers, primary fields hold, he estimates conservatively, 500 each. If England has, conservative estimate, 12 major bomber bases plus 20 auxiliary fields like this one, his mind calculates automatically now, numbers flowing like water downhill seeking inevitable conclusion. 6,000 bombers at primary bases, 5,940 at auxiliary fields. Total, 11,940 heavy bombers in England today, not including bombers in Italy, not including medium bombers, not including fighter bombers, just heavy strategic assets on English soil. 11,940 bombers. Germany possesses, he knows the numbers, every pilot knows, approximately 400 operational fighters for Western Front defense on any given day. Ratio, 29 bombers for every fighter. His notepad page turns. New calculations. If Americans maintain 11,940 bombers operational in theater, accounting for 30% loss rate over 6 months, production requirement equals, his hand moves mechanically, 59,700 bombers annually. 59,700. His hand underlines the number 3 times. Germany's entire aircraft production across all types, fighters, bombers, reconnaissance, transport, equals approximately 40,000 aircraft annually, total. All types. The Americans are producing 1.5 times Germany's total aircraft production in heavy bombers alone, not counting their fighters, not counting their medium bombers, not counting their transport aircraft, not counting their training aircraft, not counting Navy aircraft. Just B-17 production exceeds total German aviation production by 50%. Volker closes notepad, slides it into flight suit pocket, looks at his hands. They have stopped trembling. Strange calm descends. The calculations are complete. The conclusion is unavoidable, mathematical, absolute, beyond ideology or propaganda or morale or fighting spirit. Germany is fighting a nation that produces weapons faster than Germany can train pilots, faster than Germany can extract fuel, faster than Germany can smelt steel. The war is not about courage or tactics or technological superiority. It is about mathematics. And the mathematics says Germany has already lost. Volker hears engines, distant, growing closer. He turns slowly. 3 vehicles approach across grass. 2 trucks with mounted machine guns, 1 staff car, British troops. 27 men visible, rifles ready. Standard response to downed enemy aircraft. They expect resistance. Expect him to fight. Expect protocol. German pilot defends or destroys aircraft, attempts escape, dies honorably. Volker unbuckles his pistol belt, lets it fall to grass, places notepad on aircraft wing, raises both hands above head. The vehicles stop 30 meters away. Soldiers dismount, form semicircle, weapons aimed. Officer emerges from staff car, RAF wing commander. Rank insignia visible even at distance. Young man, perhaps 30 years old, cautious, confused. This is wrong. German pilots do not surrender with functional aircraft. Do not yield without fight. Intelligence briefs have documented 0 instances of voluntary surrender under these circumstances. The British expect trap. Volker remains motionless, arms raised, wind cold on his face. The wing commander approaches slowly, 10 meters, 5 meters, stops, studies Volker's face. You are injured? English words. Volker speaks English, learned it before war, responds, no injury. Your aircraft is damaged beyond flight? Hydraulic failure only, otherwise functional. Confusion deepens on British officer's face. This makes no sense. Healthy pilot. Flyable aircraft with field repair. Standard protocol demands resistance. You intend escape attempt? Volker shakes his head, points to notepad on wing. I need you to verify count. Silence. British officer glances at notepad, at Volker, at aircraft, computing possibilities, trap, code, deception. Finally reaches for notepad, opens it, sees pages covered with numbers, calculations, German words, counts, ratios, studies them, looks at Volker. You counted our bombers. Yes. You calculated production rates. Yes. You determined force ratios. Yes. Wing commander closes notepad, looks across field at rows of B-17s, back to Volker. Understanding dawns slowly. You surrendered because of mathematics. Volker nods once. I need you to tell me if count is correct. 297 aircraft at this field. Yes or no? The British officer hesitates. This is intelligence. Should not confirm. But something in Volker's face. Not desperation, not fear, just need for verification of numbers. Makes him respond. 297 operational, as of 1400 hours today. Yes. Volker exhales slowly. How many fields? I cannot provide that information. Then I will tell you. 12 major bases. Approximately 20 auxiliary fields similar to this. Estimated 11,940 heavy bombers total in theater. Accounting for 30% operational reserve and rotation schedule. Silence. British officer's face reveals nothing, but eyes confirm estimate is close. Very close. Why do you need verification? Volker's voice is flat. Empty. Because I needed to know if I counted correctly. If mathematics was accurate. Because if count is correct, war is over. Germany has already lost. We simply continue dying without possibility of victory. And I needed British officer to confirm this before I accepted it as fact. Because otherwise I might believe it was shock or cowardice or failure of nerve. But if you confirm count, then it is simply mathematics, and mathematics cannot be wrong. The wing commander stares at him. At German pilot who calculated his way to surrender. Who required numerical verification before yielding. Who could not accept defeat from emotion, but accepted it instantly from arithmetic. I am not authorized to confirm strategic force levels. You already did. Your face when I stated numbers. Close enough to truth that you could not hide recognition. That is sufficient confirmation. Volker lowers his hands slowly. May I retrieve my notepad? Permission granted. Volker picks up leather-bound book. Opens to page filled with calculations. Adds notation at bottom in German. Verifiziert durch RAF-Kommandant. 9 Mai 1944. 16:45. Verified by RAF Commander. May 9th, 1944. 16:45 hours. He closes notepad. Looks at British officer. I am ready to proceed to prisoner processing. They take him. Messerschmitt remains untouched. Canopy still open. Engine cold. 3 days later, 2nd Luftwaffe aircraft makes emergency landing at same field. Focke-Wulf FW-190 damaged by fighter engagement. Pilot executes perfect landing. Surveys field. Counts bombers visible from cockpit. Unbuckles harness. Exits aircraft. Surrenders immediately without destroying equipment. British intelligence interrogates both pilots separately. Neither knows the other landed at same location. Both describe identical reasoning. Mathematical impossibility of victory based on visible force disparity. Both calculated production rates. Both reached same conclusion. Reports go up chain of command. Pattern recognition. 2 rational surrenders based on numerical analysis rather than combat defeat. Psychological warfare potential identified. Recommendation. Allow German reconnaissance aircraft to photograph auxiliary bomber fields. Let them see scale. Let them calculate. Let mathematics do what combat cannot. Break will to fight through simple arithmetic. High command rejects recommendation. We do not win wars by showing strength. We win by using it. But word spreads. Among captured Luftwaffe officers, whispered conversations. Volker's notepad confiscated, classified, analyzed. German intelligence receives fragments through prisoner exchange channels. Dismisses reports as propaganda. Impossible numbers. Staged deception. Quality defeats quantity. German engineering superior. American production figures fabricated. Meanwhile, bombing intensifies. 1,000 bomber raids. 1,500 bomber raids. 2,000 bomber raids. Cities burn. Factories collapse. Rail networks shattered. And German pilots, those who survive, begin their own counts. How many bombers in today's raid? How many yesterday? How many lost versus how many return tomorrow? The mathematics becomes unavoidable. Eastern Front, autumn 1944. Oberst Heinrich Brandt, career officer, veteran commander, stands in rubble of command post after American bombing raid. Aide approaches with preliminary damage assessment. Sir, we lost 82% of fuel depot. 12 tanks destroyed. 47 men killed. Brandt barely reacts. Asks single question. How many bombers in raid? Estimated 470, sir. Brandt does mental arithmetic. 470 bombers. Approximately 1,800 tons of bombs. One target. One day. He pulls small leather notepad from pocket. Opens it. Pages filled with numbers. Dates. Bomber counts. Calculations identical to Volker's. Every officer with mathematical mind is doing same calculation. Independently. Privately. Reaching same conclusion. Brandt adds new entry. 470. 19 October. 470. October 19th. He closes notepad. Looks at aide. War is over. Sir? We lost. Perhaps 18 months ago. Perhaps earlier. Mathematics says so. We simply continue dying because no one will say aloud what numbers prove. Aide stares. This is defeatism. Punishable. Potentially capital offense. But Brandt is beyond caring. Do you know how many B-17 bombers Americans produced last month? No, sir. I estimated from raid frequencies and loss rates. Approximately 4,200. 1 month. We produced 900 fighters total, all types, in same period. They produce 4.7 bombers for every fighter we produce. And their bombers carry crews of 10, 50,000 trained airmen monthly entering service. We train perhaps 2,000 pilots monthly, and most die in first 10 missions. Mathematics. Simple. Undeniable. Brandt never surrenders. Dies in January 1945 during Soviet offensive. Notepad found on body. Soviet intelligence translates it, sends copy to Americans. Americans file it with other captured documents. Pattern persists. German officers calculating their way to understanding defeat through simple arithmetic. May 1945. War in Europe ends. Volker, prisoner of war, held at camp in Yorkshire. Requests meeting with intelligence officer. Granted. RAF group captain interviews him. You have information? Question. Not information. I need verification of number. What number? Total American bomber production. Heavy bombers only. B-17 and B-24 combined. Entire war. I have calculated approximately 147,000 based on observed deployment rates, replacement rates, and loss statistics. But I need verification. Group captain consults files. Returns. Your calculation is remarkably close. Total production, 143,463 heavy bombers. All types, all theaters. Volker writes number in notepad. 143463. Stares at it. And German total aircraft production, all types? Intelligence estimates approximately 119,000 total. All types combined. Volker writes 119000. Does subtraction. 143,463 minus 119,000 equals 24,463. The Americans built 24,463 more heavy bombers alone than Germany built total aircraft of all types. Entire war. Approximately correct. Volker closes notepad. Thank you. I required verification before writing report. What report? For German officers. POW camp. Many still believe propaganda. Believe Germany could have won with better strategy, better leadership, better luck. I am writing mathematical proof that outcome was determined by industrial capacity, not tactics or courage. Numbers do not lie, cannot lie. Officers trained in engineering will understand. Perhaps reduce post-war mythology about how war could have been won. Perhaps prevent future wars started by men who believe will defeats arithmetic. Group captain studies him. You are writing military analysis in prisoner camp. I am writing mathematics. Mathematics is neutral. Just numbers. True for victor and defeated equally. Released from POW camp September 1945. Returns to Germany. Devastation beyond description. Cities rubble. Industry demolished. Population starving. Works as translator for American occupation forces. Uses access to request additional information. American supply officer, former logistics analyst, takes interest in Volker's mathematical approach. Provides data. Fuel production figures, steel production figures, food production figures. Volker compiles comprehensive analysis. Germany versus Allied industrial capacity, 1939 through 1945. Completes report March 1946. 173 pages. Tables. Graphs. Calculations. Conclusion. Germany could not have won war militarily regardless of tactical or strategic decisions after December 1941, when American industrial mobilization reached sustainability threshold. Outcome was mathematical inevitability. Sends copies to former German general staff officers. Most ignore it. Some read it. Few accept conclusions. One responds. Former General Oberst, tank commander, respected strategist. Letter says, your mathematics is correct, but you miss critical point. Wars are not fought because mathematics predicts victory. Wars are fought because men believe mathematics can be overcome by will. Your report will convince no one who needs convincing because those who start wars do not believe numbers. They believe destiny. Volker never publishes analysis, keeps only personal copy, works as engineering professor, University of Munich, teaching structural mechanics. Never discusses war except once. Lecture hall, 1967. Student asks, Professor, you flew fighters in war. How many aircraft did you shoot down? Volker considers question. 19 confirmed kills, 87 missions. Survived. Were you skilled pilot? I was adequate pilot. Better at mathematics than flying. Did skill matter? No. Student confused. What do you mean, no? Volker walks to blackboard. Writes numbers. Germany produced approximately 40,000 combat aircraft during war. America produced approximately 324,000. Ratio: 8 American aircraft per German aircraft. If every German pilot shot down 8 American aircraft before dying, we achieve strategic stalemate. If German pilots average 7.9 kills per pilot, we lose. I achieved 19 kills, far above average. I survived. We still lost. Because mathematics cares nothing for individual skill. Only aggregate numbers matter. I was solving wrong equation. Tried to change outcome by improving one variable, personal skill, when equation required changing different variable, production capacity, which I could not affect from cockpit. Student persists. But surely courage and skill matter in war. Courage and skill determine who survives, not who wins. Victory is decided by spreadsheets, not bravery. Volker never speaks of war again. 1989. Major Ernst Volker dies age 69. Natural causes. Modest funeral. Few mourners. Personal effects sorted by niece. She finds leather notepad. Opens it. Sees pages filled with numbers. Calculations from May 9th, 1944. Counts of bombers. Production estimates. Ratios. Last page has single sentence in German, added years later. Viel zu viele. Immer viel zu viele. Too many. Always too many. Niece donates notepad to RAF Museum Hendon. Curator recognizes significance. Places it in climate-controlled case. Small placard explains. Navigation notepad of Luftwaffe Major Ernst Volker. Landed by emergency at RAF Auxiliary Field May 9, 1944. Counted 297 B-17 bombers. Calculated force ratios. Surrendered without resistance based on mathematical conclusion that Germany could not achieve military victory. Notepad represents unusual case of rational surrender based on analytical, rather than emotional reasoning. Prisoner of war testimony indicates Volker was first of several Luftwaffe officers who reached similar conclusions through numerical analysis, rather than combat defeat. The Messerschmitt Bf 109 that Volker landed sits in different museum. Imperial War Museum Duxford, fully restored. Pristine condition. Visitors photograph it. Admire sleek lines. Read placard. Messerschmitt Bf 109 G6. Landed intact May 9, 1944. Pilot surrendered voluntarily. Rare example of undamaged enemy aircraft recovered during wartime. Children ask parents, why did pilots surrender if airplanes still worked? Parents struggle to answer. How to explain to child that sometimes mathematics defeats courage, that numbers can be more devastating than bullets, that moment of clarity can break will more thoroughly than combat? Museum guide, if present, sometimes explains, pilot looked at horizon, saw hundreds of bombers, calculated, realized his side had already lost, decided dying for lost cause was waste, chose mathematics over mythology. Some visitors nod, understanding. Wars are fought by courage but won by logistics. Others uncomfortable. Surrender seems cowardly, even rational surrender. Guide does not press point. But occasionally, visitor with engineering or mathematics background asks, what were calculations? What did he figure out? Guide provides numbers. Bomber counts. Production rates. Ratios. Visitor does arithmetic. Face changes. Oh, yes. He counted himself out of war. He calculated truth that propaganda denied, then made rational choice. Visitor stares at aircraft. Beautiful machine. Deadly. Sophisticated. Irrelevant. Because one beautiful sophisticated aircraft cannot defeat 300 crude functional aircraft. Quality cannot defeat quantity past certain threshold. Elegant engineering cannot overcome industrial capacity. The Messerschmitt sits in museum. Preserved. Admired. Testament not to German engineering excellence, but to futility of excellence without scale. Symbol not of strength, but of moment, when one man looked at horizon, counted metal birds, did arithmetic, and accepted mathematical truth. Wars are won by men who can count. Lost by men who believe counting does not matter. Volker was trained to fight, chose to count, made rational decision that propaganda called cowardice and mathematics called inevitable. His notepad remains in case. Numbers fading, leather cracking, but calculations still visible, still accurate, still proving that sometimes most courageous act is accepting what numbers say, that sometimes surrender is not weakness, but recognition of reality, that sometimes war ends not with battle, but with equation. May 9th, 1944. 16:45 hours. Major Ernst Volker closes leather notepad, looks at wing commander. says words that echo through decades. I needed to know if I counted correctly. He did, and the count said, too many. Always too many. Mathematics ended his war. The shooting continued 11 more months. But for Volker, war ended with arithmetic. Clean. Final. Undeniable. 297 bombers at secondary field. 11,940 estimated in theater. 143,463 produced total. Numbers that could not be fought, could not be overcome, could only be accepted, and in acceptance, found strange peace. Not peace of victory, peace of certainty. Mathematical certainty that outcome was determined, that his courage or cowardice changed nothing. That equation was solved before he entered it. Viel zu viele. Too many. The only conclusion mathematics allowed. The only truth that mattered.